Good old Assassin's Creed. With the original game's debut back in 2007, there is no shortage of Assassin's Creed content. Hey guys, this is Obi from Obi Gaming, and today we will be taking an in-depth look and doing a review of Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
For that, you will need courage.
For Sparta!
Cunning. Compassion. And commitment.
As in our last review video, I have tasked myself with gathering as much information in the span of 60 minutes to figure out whether or not the game is worth a purchase. Oh, and quick note guys, whenever I'm playing a game, I use a headset to help immerse myself in the moment. I would recommend that you do the same while watching this video. Now guys, I've spent over 100 hours playing Assassin's Creed Origins, so in this video you will hear me compare Odyssey to Origins a lot. If you never played Origins, I highly recommend you go check it out.
No. Let us meet our fate, shall we?
Odyssey does a great job of sucking you into the world of ancient Greece right from the get-go. With the addition of the Spartan War, you get a tone for what the game is going to be about. Now, comparing the intros from Origins to Odyssey, Odyssey was not as grand in my opinion. The start of the game to Origins had a grand scene where the main protagonist was about to take out one of his mortal enemies and has a big wow factor.
Everyone who sniffed the air that day in Siwa!
While Odyssey does a great job setting the tone for the game, the wow factor is slightly lost after playing Origins. Now, just like Origins, Odyssey throws you right into the combat, with a slight tutorial that plays as you progress, allowing you to familiarize yourself with the game controls. This short tutorial did not slow down the pacing of the game, unlike some other games that I've played.
This manuscript is in rough condition, to say the least. The DNA found on the spear has identified two different individuals. You're going to have to pick which strand of DNA to pursue. The choice is yours.
For the first time in Assassin's Creed history, you were given the choice to play as one of two characters, Alexios or Cassandra. I opted for Cassandra mostly because you don't get to play many female characters in video games. Cassandra feels kind-hearted with the people she cares about, but does not hesitate to let people know how she feels about the situation.
Then get it.
Instantly, my friend, instantly.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey was released 1 year after Origins, and because of this, I thought I was going to be getting a lot of the same game, and I'm glad to say this is not the case. The animation in Odyssey feels way more fleshed out, movement around the world feels more grounded, and when in combat you feel less slidey like you did in Origins. No longer are you able to reach a target from a few yards away. You actually need to be next to them in order to hit them. Parkour feels about the same, still being able to climb and jump to just about anything you see, but slightly more fluid. Character design is a big improvement in Odyssey. The characters feel more real with better movement animation, and was really taken away with the animation of the eyes. The characters do a great job of conveying realism with their eyes and facial animations. Voice acting is another big improvement for Ubisoft. In previous titles, only the main characters were fleshed out with great voice actors. Most of the non-important NPCs in the world had terrible voice acting and felt like they were in a small room and were talking through some kind of filter. This is not the case with Odyssey. All the side NPCs have a pretty good dialogue, and the voice acting is way better this time around. Also, there is less random characters in the world spouting off the same random lines. The game opts for more of a crowd background aesthetic rather than being able to make out every single word. I was really able to get a sense of a connection between Cassandra and the other characters you stumble upon. The dialogue feels like it has true meaning, pulling you into heartfelt moments rather than just pushing the story along.
Do you think Zeus would bless me with an ego like he blessed you, Cassandra?
Quests have improved as well with a better grasp on storytelling. It's still no Witcher, but it's one step closer. Combat does get a slight improvement, feeling more real, and you're equipped with a vast array of finishing moves. The early stages of the game have a big learning curve. After I took control of Cassandra, I ignored the in-game prompts of the quest markers and opted to explore the world. It wasn't long before I stumbled across a den of wolves. They were only a couple levels ahead of me, but even with my best attempts, I was taken down. I respawned and decided to take another stab at it, and again I died. And died, and then died some more. It took me about 7 or 8 tries to really know what I was doing in order to take down a den of wolves. In the early game, you find yourself dodging, looking for the perfect moment to strike, rather than just swinging your sword and hoping that you make contact with your foe. Animation and voice acting were not the only improvement I found in Odyssey. The gear that you're presented with gives you a lot more choice than Origins. The first thing I noticed is that when you change a piece of your armor, the aesthetics of your character change as well. Previously, in Origins, the look of your character was limited only to outfits that you either bought or collected through various quests. That is no longer the case in Odyssey. Every piece of gear has a unique look to it. Just like in Origins, you're given an arsenal of weapons to choose from. You can try different styles of weapons to see how it fits your playstyle. The major difference in Odyssey is the ability to add engravings to weapons that gives each weapon its own individual advantage. Just like in Origins, if you do find a favorite piece of gear, you can level it to your current level, but it comes at a greater cost than in Origins. Not only do you have to use that hard-earned cash, but you also have to give up precious materials that you collect across the vast map. Material collecting feels much better this time around. No longer are you just looting from thousands of people you take down, but you can find different deposits scattered around the open world and in caves. Finding loot out in the world felt way more valuable. One big change is that in Origins you have the ability to use what's called the Animus Pulse. This allows you to find collectibles in the world. Now in Origins this ability was given to you from the get-go, but in Odyssey you will need to unlock this ability from the skill tree. The skill tree offers a bigger variety of abilities you can unlock this time around. At the start of the game you're pretty weak, but you can level up and invest points into skills to make you almost godlike. Some abilities give you only stronger attacks, while others allow you to instantly warp to the closest foe. While a lot of people have complained about some of these abilities giving you superpowers, saying that the realism is gone, you only need to investigate the lore of other Assassin's Creed titles to understand how this is possible. The supernatural aspect of Assassin's Creed has always been there, but the biggest change is that we as players have never had the ability to harness that power. Now another first for the Assassin's Creed titles is the ability to make choices in the game. Now here will be a small spoiler, but nothing that'll break the game for you guys. So anyway, at the beginning of the game you're pitted up against 2 thugs. After taking them down, you're given the choice to either let them go or to kill them where they stand. I, being the good guy, let them go. Now
It's over. Tell that one-eyed freak if he ever sends you here again, I'm gonna cut out his other eye and feed it to my bird.
Now, at the time, I didn't really think this was going to be a big decision, but later on, because of my choice, I was ambushed by the very same people I had spared the lives of. While this choice is not game-breaking, it did add a level of detail that we had yet to see in the Assassin's Creed universe. It was nice to see that the choices that I had made had an effect on the game as it played. One of the biggest things that I loved about Origins was the ability to explore ancient Egypt with its grand monuments and vast deserts. I was extremely worried that the world would not be as interesting as it was in Origins, but again I was wrong. I must say this world is beautiful, and it has a way of sucking you in. At one moment, I was standing on the edge of a mountain cliff next to a couple of random trees. I stopped for a moment and noticed that you could see the leaves flying through the air. There were random dust particles. I stood there thinking to myself, wow, this is nice. And then I noticed you hear the gusting of wind that really pulled me into the environment. The realism of the wind made me actually feel like I was standing on the edge of that mountain, and I could almost feel the breeze. Kudos for Ubisoft for pulling me into that moment. Like I mentioned earlier, when I first took control of Cassandra, I ignored what the game was telling me to do for the prospect of exploration. The first place I went to was a small shipwreck on the side of the sea, and I was just amazed by the beauty of the water. Also, I wanted to add in, this game is way more vertical than Origins ever was. There's a lot more hills and mountains to climb, rather than just flat deserts to walk through. sound design is good, with its way better voice acting and realistic wind, but the music is where it's at. The game's music does a great job of setting the tone for what's going on, whether it's an intense fight or a lighthearted scene. It does a great job that it's almost not noticeable. That's a good thing in my book. Ambient noises are still as amazing as they were in Origins. Also, in the first scene of the game, the camera's panning through a group of soldiers. Now, in this scene, it's actually raining, and you can hear the rain hitting the armor of the soldiers, and I just thought that was really cool.
Spartans!
I noticed a few glitches while I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. One of them was almost game-breaking. As soon as I started the game, during the first scene, the camera kept jumping like my Xbox could not process what was happening on screen. Also noticed that during a few of the scenes when the camera was panning back and forth between Cassandra and another character, Cassandra would sometimes jump into place. I also noticed that there was a lot of reused assets from Origins, like this well for example, and some of the wildlife was reused as well. So guys, here comes the big question. Would I purchase this game? My answer, absolutely. After spending so many hours in Origins, I thought I was going to be getting the same game with a different texture wrapping, but I was wrong. Ubisoft did a great job improving all the amazing things that they did with Origins. The gameplay feels more fluid and the characters are more fleshed out. I look forward to finishing this game, and I may even stream it for you guys like I did with Origins. Hey guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. It really helps out the channel and we really appreciate it. Also, if you haven't done it already, consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with everything Obi and Sobi. And to finish this episode off, I have a couple questions for you. Have you ever played Assassin's Creed Odyssey? If not, let me know what kept you from playing this title. Also, if you have played it, are there any interesting stories you would like to share? If so, leave a comment down below. Hey guys, you can also follow us on Twitter. I left a link in the description down below. Until next time guys, this is Obi signing out.